How do you not get divorced?
Yes!
How do you get a good spouse? He basically has no advice on that. He's basically like, I don't really know, but if you want a good spouse, deserve a good spouse. Because a good spouse, by definition, isn't nuts.
Elon Musk, like, you ask him, or like, how do you be an entrepreneur? Or should I start this thing? And his response is, don't. If you're asking, you're the wrong person. This kid, he texted me like, hey, hypothetically, if somebody, in parentheses, me, wanted to start a podcast, do you have any tips or tricks for like how to go about that? And I sat there for a minute and I was like, if you're asking me, you're fucked.
Welcome to the Smart Nonsense Podcast, where we talk about entrepreneurship, self-development, and challenging norms.
You know, I actually just texted you and told you not to do that bullshit camera reveal for the folks on YouTube. For the folks on YouTube. Because, Pop, we're back.
We're back.
I woke up this morning with, I don't know, like 4 episodes on Spotify. Best morning I've had in years. Best.
Really?
A Smart Nonsense morning.
Wow. What do they say about building the product you exactly want? We just want to hear our own voices.
They say do it. Do it. That's the thing. I don't care who listens to this. For me, it's like being able to listen back to kind of like what we're thinking and how we ideate. It's fascinating to me. And then I also like learn again because like I'm just spewing nonsense on here. And then I listen back and I'm like, oh yeah, that's true. No, that was not something I believe anymore. Like it's so interesting. Should we talk about feedback loops?
Dude, let me connect a little thread and then we'll hit the feedback loop because that is a tough feedback loop that we got there. I like, one of my favorite parts is hearing the optimism because feedback loops. Some of these pods were a year ago, like to the day. It was like August 31st or something when we were shooting them, and now just getting put out on Spotify. I think a couple of them are out on YouTube, but it was chaos. So they got posted some places, not others, all different titles. But my point is, it's really fun, like hearing about us being like, oh, I think we found a writer. We finally got out. He's even better than us. And then just the next pod, it's just us destroyed. And like, we know the future. So it's kind of fun to track that.
So, well, Pop, here's the thing about feedback loops, right?
You need the loop.
Right. So when you open a loop, as in like maybe you say something, you record something, you like put something into the universe, in order for it to be a feedback loop, it has to go all the way around. As
full circle.
As in the podcasts need to be published so we can listen to them and then loop back into recording new stuff more informed.
Well, here's the thing, dude, and I don't mean to compare myself to greats, but I've been reading a lot about Charlie Munger, a lot. And he's just laser focused on one thing at a time, 100%. That's all he does. And so if you got little like, hey, Dylan, you can do the title and thumbnail and publish these episodes? No, dude, not the one thing. It won't be for the next year.
The funniest part about it is I listened to one business podcast episode when we thought like, okay, we're going viral for our shorts, therefore the podcast needs to be about the business. Once the feedback loop was closed this morning, I listened to one business podcast. I'm like, that's the worst thing I've ever heard in my entire life. Why were we talking about the business?
Well, I don't think we thought those were good podcasts because a lot of the time everyone hated the process, but regardless of whether or not we like it, I like to document.
Yeah,
we're gonna document it and we look back and we're like, wow, that was a real roller coaster. So maybe if we're in the trenches, we just talk about the business because we're not reading other things, and that's okay to document because we don't care what happens here. This is just for us. It's just boring, especially when it's like not a turbulent time, or like, I don't know. There was like a month of us just talking about like failing to sell the business.
There's good lessons in them. It was just like immediately when you close the feedback loop and we listen back, it was just like immediately that's not it. That's not it.
Well, are we claiming we have it? I don't think we are, but we're claiming we got the loop.
We have the loop. and it's
The
closed.
loop's all that matters, dude. And we can get a real tight loop because podcasts don't take a week to edit like a short or a month to edit like a long. So this is going to be sick.
Right.
I opened up a loop, and by loop, I mean thread, about Munger. Because I got 2 people I want to talk about today. Maybe 3, like a 2.5. And they're very similarly minded. One's Munger, and one is Wilkie, Andrew Wilkinson.
What else do you do with your
thread
time?
Stomp you, dude. But if you got some threads, I know you were talking about dogs yesterday and electricity. So if you want to talk about any of those, this is your opening.
They're evergreen. Oh, this is my opportunity.
Yeah.
Really quick. So we haven't been able to shoot this podcast. We're trying to shoot twice a week. We really haven't been able to shoot all week this week because the electric company came by, Pop. And so I was subleasing this studio for like the last year, and I transferred over into.
And why is that?
The guy was leaving. He was breaking his lease, so I was subleasing from him. It would have been ideal if I could lease directly, so we tried to do that, and the building was like, "No, this guy has no money."
Negative.
This guy Henry
Negative
has
money.
no money. Actually, negative money, negative net income. So I was subleasing. Okay, and his lease ended, and finally I did have some net income. So I went to lease directly with the building. And it was funny because when I became the leasee, I was cranking AC. It's been hot here, right? And so I've just got this thing set to like 70 degrees. It's frigid in my studio, but I like it that way. And for 3 months, I was like, like, is the building paying for electric?
Oh, you got shut down.
I haven't seen anything. I'm like, dude, at my old studio on the west side, they paid for everything. So I think
including the Wi-Fi.
Including the Wi-Fi. T-Mobile Tony, thank you very much. And so, blowing snot. So anyway, I come in on Friday, and there's a big red notice on my door from ComEd. And it's like, hey, nobody's paying for this electricity that you're guzzling. So,
Dude, do you have an industrial refrigerator in that building?
Legit.
What the fuck are
That's
you
a
running?
big AC unit. So, and like all my tools and shit that's plugged in, and just like all these everything. And here's the bullshit. Well, one, I think it's hilarious that the power company can come and shut off your power. That's just like a hilarious
That's a lot of power,
concept to me.
dude. I don't mean
It's
to
a lot
pun
of
your
power.
pun.
It's a lot of power. The other thing was like the notice. There was no notice. There's a notice on the door that's like, if you don't pay or if you don't start service, then we are going to shut off power in a couple days. No, it was shut off. It was shut off right there. There were 0 days of notice.
Maybe they were sending months worth of notices to just the wrong person because they didn't realize you're on the lease.
You know what? They might have been to the other guy because I can't open his mail. That's a federal crime. So I've just been stalking his mail. That's a good point. Anyway, once they shut it off immediately, it took them a week to get back out here and turn it on, which is also crazy that they can just shut off your power and then take a week.
It's
I think
a good
I had
thing
a
you don't live
takeaway
there,
from that,
dude.
though. You know what's funny about it? We have this joke, which is like anytime we talk to our moms and there's some like issue with the business or with our finances, they can always like smell blood. Or like moms can just smell blood. This was hilarious because this was a total smelling of blood action by the electricity company. But for the first time, by Con Edison Wealth. But for the first time ever, there's actually no blood in the water.
Right.
And of course
There's
they shut
a
off
false
the
alarm
electricity.
blood in the water. Almost triggered blood by like they almost caused you to bleed in a sense.
How?
By shutting off your basic human rights.
Oh, yeah, this is my I had to buy a laptop. I couldn't work here. This is my desktop setup. I couldn't work here. I couldn't shoot the pod. Almost died with no power.
It is interesting when stroke. When you hear All In podcasts, they talk about like, hey, if we just make energy cheaper, the whole world is just better off. Like that is the thing to solve because it's everything in the supply chain. It's just like a little reminder, like, hey, energy is really important because otherwise you're living in a
Squalor.
a sweatshop. Yeah.
Oh wait, I have one more takeaway. My other takeaway is So my mom, for instance, like she has a fear of government. Like she has a fear of like the government. Yes, the man. Doing things like if you don't set something up, the government's going to come get you and they're going to put you in handcuffs and throw you in prison. I don't have that fear. I don't know why. I think life's a big game. And what this gets to is like, it's kind of this funny thing about government, but when like you don't set up systems properly, they will come and tell you exactly what you need to do. It's like they know. So like I didn't know how to set up the electricity. Granted, my power was shut off for a week, which sucked. But it's like they will find you and they will tell you exactly what to do. Same thing with like all these IRS notices I get. Like I don't. There are a lot of late fees.
Sounds like you're gonna go to prison.
I'm not though. Like sometimes I get late fees. Sometimes I forgot to have submitted the thing. But they tell me, and then I can submit it.
Well, here's the thing. They're used to dealing with the absolute lowest common denominator. Like, doesn't speak Spanish and doesn't have a functioning brain.
Spanish or English?
I might be one of those people, dude. Mongoloid. Dude, someone took a photo of our Hunter. He works at this desk. He took a photo of me working and then this other guy Zach working next to me. And Zach, the back of his head is like flat, but mine, especially after a haircut, it like juts out quite a bit. I've never seen my head from that angle, and I'm like, dude, I got a mongoloid head. I don't know if he's got a flat head or I got mongoloid, but
didn't I send you that meme of like the importance of babies getting tummy time? Like if you leave a baby on its back,
tummy time.
Right. If you leave a baby on its back too long because their heads are malleable, they'll have a flat back of the head. So they got to do tummy time to stay around.
Okay, so that's him. I didn't know who was right and who was wrong. Dude,
well, you might be overly mongoloid, but
dude, you got to meet in the middle. But no, never split the difference. So
that was my debacle, dude.
I had a little thread. It's not really a juicy thread off of electricity, but I pay my electric bills, but they're extra inflated because one, we live in a greenhouse. Like we get sun all day and we're not there. But like I'm in favor of just not having the AC on, especially when we're traveling. Like I've been away from home a lot this summer, and so has Jack, my roommate. But
or all day, right? Because neither of you are there.
Right. Neither of us are there. And neither. And especially when traveling, which summer it's like a nice time to travel. So the problem though is we got to dude, I can't oh my God.
It's so funny when you're like about to get into it and then you stutter or miss the word and then it's just
dude, derailed. It's like my brain, there's like a little bit of asynchronicity of my brain goes a little bit faster and then I'm like, dude,
they're firing.
So we're not in the apartment. What's my cliffhanger point? We got to keep the AC on. Why? Because we have a giant fucking plant in the living room.
It's a tree.
It's a tree.
Actually, olive tree. Kalamata olive tree.
It's like $1,000 tree that Jack is now leaving this weekend. I have to water it every day like it's a fucking child. We literally have to spend a shitload on electricity that we don't need just because the tree's at home while we're at work. I'm like, dude, don't have real, like I went to this, what is it called? Restoration Hardware. And it was like this beautiful rooftop like bar restaurant. And like, it was immaculate. It looked like when we went to Sax's party in Cabo and it was just like a 5-star hotel. It was like that. But I looked at all the plants and they're just fake plants.
Yeah.
But they look super real. I'm like,
yeah,
do that.
Might even be better because they're like ultra green. They're like lush.
Yeah, it looks healthier than our fucking our tree can't even stand up on its own, so it still had its support. I'm like, Jack, it's never gonna learn how to like stand on its own if you keep the support on. He's like, yeah, but what if I take it out and it falls? I'm like, that's the tree's fault, dude.
and like for a while when you got it, at least like it was dying. Like half of its leaves were gone. It looked like a Charlie Brown Christmas tree, but it's $1,000.
The last time Jack was here, I had to water it, but I overwatered it. So I didn't notice, but it seeped through the bottom and like flood it out. And then we have like now the wood flooring is fucked. It's all moldy and we got cockroaches because of it. And I'm like, dude, fuck this stupid fucking plant. But then people come over and like, wow, is that a real plant? And it's like, yeah. And it's like, okay, I guess the plant's worth it.
Yeah. Fine. Why is your couch there? In the middle? No, the one you're sitting on right now. Why are you sitting in the middle of your office?
Oh, dude. Well, the couch was in there where I used to shoot the podcast.
Yeah, the podcast studio.
Right. But yesterday I showed up and the couch is here.
Right.
And the lights.
Right.
So now I shoot here.
Okay. Because you're in an office.
Right. I'm in an office and this is a shared space. So,
yes, with coworkers and whiteboards.
Right. Sometimes people don't return things to where they were. But that's how it goes. No, it's fine. I like this spot. Good little
I have a quick thread. And then the teaser was like some really good lessons we're going to get from Munger and Wilkinson and whatnot.
Might never get to the teaser, dude.
So sorry, I've got sunscreen in my eyes, so I'm tearing up this whole time. Because I do skincare and I wear sunscreen every day.
Dude, can I tell you really quick?
No,
I
it's
think
my
that's
thread.
Such bullshit. You can't
You
just bring
did
up sunscreen. And
UVA and UVB. Which one causes wrinkles?
I'm just like, I keep thinking about Taleb, and he's like, Taleb's just do what the old people do. And like, I don't think people thousands of years ago were applying sunscreen every day.
But they were really wrinkly. You ever seen a 40-year-old Neanderthal man? Like, deep wrinkles. Deep.
Yeah, you got.
That's not even the point. The point was, that's just why I'm tearing up. So it is kind of annoying. This doesn't usually happen.
Well, you're gonna go blind.
I am gonna go right. What are the costs of your clean face? So I'm writing this intro for our team bonanza that we had in Bohol, Philippines.
6 months ago. Talk about
6 months ago. April 4 plus 5 months ago. So I'm writing the intro, and Ken gave me some direction for how he's feeling the intro should go. So I'm following that, and it's a little bit of our journey. Pop, you and my channels combined, 1 billion views.
Really?
I've done 820 million. You've done.
Come on,
easy,
dude.
Easy. Combined 300 million. 300 million.
Oh, I got
300 million. Yeah.
Oh, that's not bad.
It's a billion. A billion people have seen our faces.
That's also what people don't realize is each view is a minute. So like why I think we don't do well on Instagram, I thought about this yesterday, is because those are like 5-second videos.
Yeah,
and so we're just minute videos. It's just the algorithm isn't longer. But like that's a billion minutes.
Yeah.
And I don't know how to translate that into something more tangible, but that's got to be like a whole town. You just destroyed a town's entire life.
Yeah.
I don't know if you're trying to do math with one hand.
I'm not trying to do math. I'm getting a call from Athena because
the water bill.
She can't find the microwave, and it's in a cabinet, which is a stupid place to put a microwave, to be honest.
Well, to be honest, a microwave shouldn't be anywhere. It should just be out.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It should be out. You had one in a cabinet once.
Right. Well, that was when we were living in the third world.
Which brings me to my next thread. I just moved into our apartment. I've said it a couple times on the podcast. Sorry, I got to tell her I don't want this curry so she can eat it.
That's
my bad,
hugely
dude.
important, dude.
Not supposed to have distractions
Talk
on
about
the podcast.
a podcast for us and not for the listeners.
My bad. So we moved into this new place, and like because we were moving into a new place, we finally wanted to do it right, which was like get our own furniture. And you sent me that thing from someone who was like, one of their biggest things they're doing in their 30s or 40s is making up for like all the shitty quality shit they bought in their 20s. Who was that?
Might have been
Huber. So I was like, if we're gonna buy a couch and a mattress and listed two.
That was two, dude. You had a lot of momentum.
Well, I could think of other things, but those were the two most expensive.
Right.
Oh, dresser. Dresser was really expensive. So anyway, we forked over the cash to do it right and buy high quality shit. We got all our shit from West Elm. When you do that, they do a white glove delivery. And I just forgot so many of the like benefits of buying nice stuff. Like I sent you a photo like, well, okay, it's multifold. like our apartment's in a really nice place. So foundationally, our apartment has a really great like freight area. It's huge. It's like a huge truck can get in there. It's a huge loading dock. There's tons of space. The freight elevators are huge. It's like that's a benefit of expensive things versus like we've lived in all kinds of places with shitty like freight situations or just hard to do stuff. And then you get the white glove delivery. These guys are like, they're just so good. They move so fast. Everything's already assembled. So you don't have to put together like shitty Wayfair and IKEA stuff. It's just like, dude, when you do expensive things, if you can, I guess, I think a lot of people can earlier than they think. You just get rid of so many headaches. That was my thread, really.
That's
so everything's
awesome,
assembled.
dude.
They brought it into the room. Everything's set up immediately, and so it's sick.
Well, yeah. Remember what the last time you moved, and I think you were moving studios, and you broke your back and couldn't go on our friends trip, which is like a rare treat. And now you don't know what our friend's house looked like.
Murder cabin, murder.
Yeah, probably
that's a different story when we bring him back on the pod as a guest.
Yeah, money's sick. There was I think it was the Jeremy Giffen Invest Like the Best episode where he's like, honestly, everyone's just poo-pooing on money. It's so underrated. Like, if you have anything you want, it'll just solve that problem. Or he's even talking about like super yachts. It's like, I used to like think, what the fuck? Why are people buying super yachts? But then you realize you bring someone on a super yacht and they're like, oh, I'm going to do business with you. You clearly know what the fuck you're doing. This is the most impressive thing. Like, let's just make something happen. It's just like a place to get deals done. So, or just getting you access. It's like anyone you want to talk to. Like, I was listening to Wilkinson. I don't mean to like transition into this, but Wilkinson, this guy Bill Ackman, he's a big investor, and he basically just bought a meeting with Bill Ackman. And then after like a couple hours over dinner, Bill Ackman's like, oh, let's like invest together. Let's become partners, just because he bought that dinner. Same thing, he's done it with Munger, etc. So it's just like it gives you access to all these things. Granted, like I'm still in the mindset of I don't like spending if I don't have to. Like this $800 tree, I'm like I'd rather just not have a tree.
Right, but the things, and we kind of talked about this with like my mattress, for instance. So we went 8 sleep because of the idea of like you spend a third of your life sleeping. Like, what's $4,000 when you spend a third of your life in this thing? Like, that's worth optimizing. But yeah, the tree that just sits in the corner needs to look nice. Like, that could be a $50 fake plant. Right? Like, so I don't need nice shit everywhere, but like I need a really high quality, comfy couch. That's where we spend 80% of like our time in the apartment. And
it's also like
we spend a third of our life sleeping. So like I'm going to fork over the cash for those things.
Same thing with the phone and computer. It's like use that for at least 4 hours a day. It's like I can see the argument for buying the newest model every single year always. Granted, you don't need to because they run pretty well. But it's like I've seen people even in this office that have like old computers that are slow and they're like can't show me shit because like it lags. I'm like, dude, you live a lagged life. Like just buy a new laptop. But hey, dude,
It's your turn. My bad. You texted me. You asked me to speak more on the podcast. I just had to hear how much fun we had on the published episode. So now I can speak again.
Well, one thing you sent me right before this. This wasn't even a thread, dude.
It was torture. I was like, what are we doing here?
I also wonder, long ass pods. Fuck it, dude. This is Friday. We just rip. Friday, September 1st. So. What did I want to say? Oh, you sent me like this Pixar movie, or I assume it's Pixar. It's like
Elemental.
Dude, Elemental. Apparently really good. You told me to watch it. Honestly, like you said, oh, if you have an animation studio, like it's crazy that you don't watch this. I've had Zach behind me. He'll like send me like, oh, here's a really cool book about this guy that makes like popular cartoons or whatever. Like he just did his whole manual on how he makes cartoons. And I'm like, I don't care, dude. I really don't care about any of these things. Like, I enjoy the art form, but like, I'm not an animation buff. Or I don't like really care about storytelling.
Oh,
it's just like.
Well, I was gonna say the other reason to see it is because just the Pixar storytelling is unmatched.
Oh, Oh,
but you don't care.
Point.
But you don't care.
I mean,
what
like,
do you care about?
But maybe I'm like pretending to not care as much as I do. But like, dude, we're so on the rails, dude. No, shut them down. Yeah, it's just like I don't like. They see us doing all these animated shorts. It's like I don't inherently care about animation. It's just like it was a really good tool to get our message out. Or like I don't care about like cartoons. It's just like a good way for us to get our message out.
But story?
Stories the same way. It's like there's a message and like story is the way to like wrap that message.
Oh, so you like message.
I don't know what the fuck I like. But I was, who was it? I don't know what it was, but I was thinking about like at the end of your life when you look back at what you've done and like, oh, it was some movie. Oh, I think it was after Oppenheimer. Something about like, I like that movie. Maybe it was something else. But it was basically like, why the fuck are you like making, or it was Barry. I was listening to Conan O'Brien talk to, who's the guy that makes Barry?
Bill Hader. Really funny conversation, but like, it's just like entertainment. Like I don't want to just make entertainment as my life. I think a lot of people are better at that. Like I want to like feel, even if it's just like fictional, like help me sleep at night sort of thing. But I like the idea that we're like teaching or helping people be better versus just entertaining them. Like Mr. Beast is of no interest to me because it's just like, I don't want to be fucking like juggling balls for people. That's not why I'm here. Do people care, dude? I don't know. That was a good one. That was a good one to throw in there.
Well, okay. Do you want to get into the meat, dude? I got the meat. A lot of meat.
I could.
Shut it down?
I have one more small thread.
All right.
About moving, and then we're gonna get to the meat. Well, are you gonna have any tea left? You know, we got like 10 minutes.
Dude. Whoever's still hanging by minute 30 is gonna be here.
Well, it's more for can you handle the meat in like 2 minutes? I sent you a picture yesterday. So again, we're still moving apartment. I sent you a picture yesterday of this like big ass Amazon like shipping crate I had somehow acquired. They like left it at my studio once. It's like one of those. It's like one of those big mesh things that opens up and they put boxes in.
You see them in like mail rooms all the time.
It's like a big thing. It's like big gray thing with like yellow straps on it. And so I was moving with that because I had all these miscellaneous small things, like just small bullshit kitchen stuff. And then I remembered I had that. So I threw all these small things in there. And then you just have to move the one big thing. Oh. Which got me thinking, like, I love... So what I texted you was like... when needing to move something, take after like the biggest shipping and logistics company that has done all this R&D to figure out like this is the best way to move small things. Mm-hmm. And it got me kind of fascinated with the idea of like, what are these things that these big specialized companies do that us common folk don't know about yet? Because I really liked that. I was like, if you're gonna move a big house, I like wanted to text my brother this. I was like, just get like 10 of these Amazon things, put all your small shit in them. They literally zip up on the top, and then just move those, because Amazon's clearly got it figured out. So that's just a little thread I wanted to throw in there because things like that keep me really curious, and yeah, it was sick.
It'd be sick if we had an answer to that question, like more than one.
No, I didn't do any preparation. Okay. So that's a list of one. They come up from time to time. I'll try and bring them up. They come up from time to time. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we'll see, dude. We'll see.
My bad, dude. It's
I'm
Munger
glad
time.
you. No,
it's
I'm
Munger
glad you added
o'clock.
that.
It's Munger o'clock, actually. Ooh, I do have one more, but it can wait. It can wait for another podcast episode, Pop.
Okay. I figure about minute 30 is when we got to hit some sort of meat. Okay, Munger. I went back home over the weekend, as people that listen to the last pod know. I went home, and in my home, I have a shitload of books. It's like all the physical books I didn't want to lug around to my current apartment, so I just like leave them at home. One of these books, the biggest of the books, is the... Oh.
I know it's hard. It is hard.
What's the title?
I know.
Charlie.
Poor
Munger's,
Charlie's.
Poor Charlie's Almanac.
There he is.
Thanks, dude.
Good prep.
after poor. What's the Benjamin Franklin one?
Is it the Poor Man's Almanac?
Poor,
it is
it's
Benjamin
another
Franklin's.
name. Poor. Oh fuck. Portmanteau.
It's Poor Charlie's Almanac, and then
It's for Charlie. Poor
Almanac. The
come
Benjamin
on, dude.
Franklin one. The OG.
We gotta get it.
Poor Richard's Almanac.
Poor Richard, dude. Where'd Richard come from?
Who is Richard?
Who the fuck?
Oh, it was his pseudonym, right? For like some newspaper he wrote.
Yeah. Well, it's basically just like a lot of his wisdom. Ben Franklin's wisdom went into Poor Richard's Almanac, and so this is sort of a riff off of that. It's Poor Charlie's Almanac because Charlie Munger is like not like the brains behind Warren Buffett, but he's like the sleeper cell in the Warren Buffett relationship that just has a shitload of wisdom, and that's what he prioritizes in life. So it's all his wisdom in a book. It's a 500-page book, really cool. Just all his talks over time because he's not like a very public person, but they managed to like compress everything. So I read half the book. I still get another half, but like just in that alone, I am chock full of lessons. I got some of the big ones. One big concept he likes is inversion. So we all know that. It's like you look at a problem. It's like, how do you get happy? Well, what's a lot easier to answer than how do you get happy is how do you get unhappy? How do you get sad? And it's just like, okay, avoid the things that make you sad. So for a lot of his like life wisdom, it's just that whole process. And so, for example, he answers, how do you get happy? And he's like, I don't know how to get happy, but I know the way to get sad or like to not get happy is you either die, so like don't die young, or you get divorced. Like just
There he is. He's arrived.
I don't mean to comply, dude. I don't mean to comply. It's like, don't die, don't get divorced. And then like there's probably a list of a million other things, but those are the first two that he lists as like the big things not to fuck up. And actually another guy that I'm talking about, Wilkinson, he got divorced. So I have a Q&A with him because I'm part of his paid subscribers. $29 a month.
Wait, so on that, like, just the physical reason that sucked, he tweeted like he was selling his house, and this was like this beautiful custom house. Like they put everything into this thing. The architect was like some famous person. It's like this was like catalog, like magazine house. And he's like, yeah, I got divorced, so I'm selling it. It's like their dream house. It's just gone. And that's a physical ramification, but
right,
definitely an anti-goal.
I bet he's like, that's the least of his problems, but like
right.
It's a bummer because you spent so long building that. And then, dude, all right, you want to like,
I want it.
Take one, go into the next. So how do you not get divorced, right? How do you get a good spouse? This is more so in the like get versus like fuck it up. He basically has no advice on that. He's like, dude, I don't fucking know. Like this,
because he doesn't have one, right? Both him and Warren are like, I think, shitty husbands. Well,
they have. Yeah, they're bad husbands because all they care about is work and just hanging out with the boys. But I guess they're like happy enough with their relationship. Like they haven't got divorced, so like it's worked, I guess, from that perspective. He's basically like, hey, dude, I don't really know, but basically, if you want, I almost want to quote him properly. Is like, if you want a good spouse, deserve a good spouse, because a good spouse, by definition, isn't nuts. What does that mean? Let me translate.
Yeah, we got to break down the second half.
Okay.
The isn't nuts part.
You want a good spouse, right? Yeah. By definition, a good spouse will be smart enough to not marry a bad spouse, aka you. So you have to be good, otherwise the good people won't want to marry you.
Right.
Does that make sense?
That was the deserving part. Yeah.
Right. You have to be valuable enough, like cool enough, like whatever, just like be attractive to people. He's like, basically be dope. Like don't focus on like little things like to trick people, because like smart people won't be tricked. So you just like be dope, and then like, oh, dope people come to you. I don't think he uses the word dope, but I will.
Poor Dylan.
So that was just cool. It's just like, dude, just focus on you. Then, all right, I'll talk about focus. So focus, he's like, he's got like the Asperger, like he's got my respectable Asperger's. I actually haven't like listened to much of them. I just like read them, where you can get like a lot of asp doesn't really come through writing. Like Peter Thiel, amazing writer, but then you like listen to him and he sucks at talking. But he has like this one thing. People when they talk about Munger, they're like, I've never met anyone like him. Like he dances to his own music. Like he is just a unique character. Doesn't give a fuck what anyone's doing. He's just gonna live life the way he wants to live. Even on the way here, I was listening to a Wilkinson podcast, and he's talking about Munger, and he's like, I respect Munger because he bought this Barron's investment book. He reads it for years, decades, and out of all the hundreds and thousands of companies that he's seen in the book, he only invested in one. So he'll just like wait decades, only invest in one, but he 100x's his money on that investment. It's like very few people are willing to just live the way he lives. He's also like, his crazy focus, he'll be so focused on a book, like people will come in the room and like try and talk to him and he just like ignores them. Or like he'll be in a conversation with someone and like it'll be over and he'll just like walk away without saying bye. Or like he'll be at an intersection parked and like there are cars behind him honking when it turns green and he's just like really thinking about a problem and talking to you. And he'll just like stay there for a minute.
Which is also kind of an anti-goal, right? Like this guy's just one of one, like can't relate to anybody.
But it's like, I like that he can just do that. Like I don't want to live that way, but I like that he can exist without conforming.
Yeah.
And so that was kind of like the weird and focus point. And then, okay, I got two more on Munger. So one is like,
and your Q&A is coming up.
And that's before, dude. I got another person and a half down here.
The Q&A starts right now.
No. It's that was Central Time. I got an hour.
Oh, let's rip.
Yeah,
dude. I was getting nervous.
Don't get nervous, dude. I saw you looking at something. Okay, so he talks about basically like.
I was nervous to chime in. I didn't want to elongate any threads.
If you got chimes, dude, chime. Just
well, now that I know we got time, I can chime it up.
So another thing is like Wilkinson was talking about Munger, and like Munger is known for not being a very quantitative investor. Like he gets the numbers, obviously understands them, like that's like table stakes in investing, but he's a very qualitative, like, hey, let me just look at the business, understand like the big picture. What is its moat? Like how long can it actually be existing and being a good business? And that's what you're going to invest in. Like who are the people operating it? So he talks about all these like Wall Street finance terms that like talk about like acronyms and just dumb stuff to make people confused. He's like, dude, I don't understand anything about modern portfolio theory or beta or like there's like some risk. Like
alpha, they're always talking about alpha. Risk. I don't know what the fuck alpha is.
Alpha,
I get delta. Like I can handle delta.
He's basically like, dude, it's all bullshit. Like he's literally in conversation because there's a transcript. He's like, Buffett, do you understand any of this shit? He's like, I've never understood any of it ever, nor do I want to, because all I care about is it a good business? Does it have a moat, like a competitive advantage that can stay around for a long time? And is it just like a fair price? It's like, okay, if that's the case, I'm going to buy it. And then talking about like, what is the term that they used? It was like cost of capital, something. It's like a long thing that people use, like percentage of like, are they investing in the right thing? It's like, dude, I just look and I'm like, there's this company or this company, or just sitting on my ass. Like, what's the best thing to do right now? I'm just like,
and most of the time it's sitting on their ass. I think so many people aren't okay with waiting. Like they have more patience than most anybody probably.
They're known for like one of his advice. I think he was talking to like Stanford Business School in one of his talks. He was basically like, honestly, the best investment advice I can give you right now is imagine you just have a little punch card of just 10 investments. That's all you get for your entire life. Here you go. Figure it the fuck out. Mm-hmm. That will make them better investors than any like, here's like how to analyze a company, et cetera, like random stuff. It's just like you get 10 investments. Just don't just be okay with being patient. Have a lot of cash at all times. Because like you want that cash so that when the opportunity is there, you just like strike big. That's his whole philosophy. So last thing on Munger.
Dude, keep them coming.
He just talks about his partnership with Buffett because they've been partners for, I don't know, 50 years. 70. I guess they're really old. A long time. And like, it's the best relationship ever. They just like do exactly what they want and like just have a fun time like thinking together. And basically the key to the relationship is you just respect each other. Like, I just found someone that was like smarter and wiser than me, and now we just work together all the time. And I see that the same way with like any relationship I have.
Yeah.
I think like people in general have. I'm not bringing it to
Go
you.
there. Go there.
It's like I have to respect the person.
Yes.
Or like I think in general you have to. Like I won't listen to some of my family's advice sometimes because I'm like I don't really respect like their takes on business, so I don't really like I'm kind of checked out with that stuff. Or with a partner, it's like oh you have to respect them. Oh.
They're a girlfriend even.
A girlfriend.
Some would say a girlfriend.
And that's why like I look at the Hormozy relationship and I think he generally respects her business skills and they're complementary. So it's like same thing, like I respect your ability to just get shit done all the time. I'm like, okay, that's why, well, many reasons, but why this works so well. So it's just interesting to see like
that's interesting because we almost never have disagreements. And it's interesting because when you do stuff that annoys me, for instance, it's not that it annoys me. It's like, oh, that's how Dylan operates, and I respect that. And just like let him go do that, go be that way, right? So it's probably a similar thing when I'm just like shipping stuff that's not always fully finished. You're initially probably like, dude, what the fuck? Like it's happened before. But then we don't really get into disagreements because I think, like you're saying, in the back of your mind, you're like, okay, but I do respect his ability to ship.
This is kind of funny. It was talking about Munger, where all the time, like Munger was a lawyer before jumping into the investment world. That's why he's a minority partner in the Buffett relationship. Like Buffett has all the power, but basically, like Buffett would come to him with all these investments, and Munger would just shit on it, like shit on everything, like poke holes in every angle of the business. But like by the end of the conversation, you knew it was a good investment if Charlie's like, "Hey Warren, could I get a piece of this?" Like he'll shit on it for an hour straight, 2 hours straight, and then at the end he's like, "Can I get a little piece?" Because Warren defended it well, and like I don't know, it's just like his way of interacting. How does it relate? It's more like I respect, like I like the principle. I like how you're very principled. It's just like I just do a lot of shit really fast and make mistakes, kind of like the Facebook thing. It's just like I just know that's your mode of getting things done, and I think it's a lot better than like my mode, but like the two together work well.
Right.
It's just interesting.
Respect, dude. Respect. You can't be out of threads. There's no way.
Munger threads, I am not with Wilkie though.
You got any poop stories?
Oh, you want tea?
I was just listening back to an episode, kind of like the poop episode. It ended with you just talking about this billionaire guy we know's his tour bus and all that, and you just got weird stories.
Oh yeah, I forgot you weren't involved in that story.
No.
Yeah, that podcast is like purposely buried. It was like very poorly titled and thumbnailed, so people don't really find it. Maybe I don't know what we should do with that. But yeah, interesting weird stories. So yeah, this is gonna get very heady podcast. So I don't know where the tea comes from.
I could inject something fun. Well, what else
you got? Something fun?
Well, I have another quick one. I'm gonna use up all my threads though. So this kid, he's my sister's age. I shared this with you. He texted me like, "Hey, hypothetically, if somebody in parentheses me wanted to start a podcast, like, do you have any tips or tricks for like how to go about that?" And I sat there for a minute, and I was like, "If you're asking me, you're fucked. You're already fucked." It's kind of like the Elon Musk, like, should I be an entrepreneur? You ask him, or like, how do you be an entrepreneur? Or should I start this thing? And his response is, don't. If you're asking, you're the wrong person. And then your advice, which I ultimately gave to this kid, who is a good friend, and he'll be fine, is like, just start. Like, like, we don't ask, like, how to start. Google, like, what do I need to publish a podcast? But like, what are you asking me for?
Right. Usually when it's like such a powerful desire, you're just like, fuck it, I don't care.
Just figure it out.
Yeah, I don't know what people are like looking for the excuse to be like, no, don't do it or something, and then like, okay, I don't have to do it. I don't know, but like, it's also who's the piano guy that was like, Mozart or whatever, like.
That was from Jeremy Giffen. Somebody went to Mozart and was asking him like.
It was a 12-year-old.
Oh, it was a 12-year-old.
12-year-old's like, hey Mozart, what do I have to do to be like you? And he's like, go to school, study for 10 years, and then maybe you can make something awesome. And then the kid's like, oh, Mozart, that's what you did? It's like,
no. Wait. So, well, he was like, wait, but Mozart, you were writing symphonies at age 5.
He's like, yeah, dude, I love this popcorn.
Dude, Mad Lib.
Yeah, I also wasn't asking these questions. I just did it.
So,
but I will say, reading back, because you asked me if I could send you my early iterations of like stick figure finances, and like even before that, I had some drafts of like these half cartoon, half written posts that were like, wait, but why? I had originally emailed Tim Urban, who writes Wait, but why, before starting, and it was this long-winded, like terrible email, but it was basically like, which he never responded to. It was basically like, hey dude, knowing what you know now, would you do it again?
I didn't know that was before you started, though. That's so interesting.
Yeah, I think it was like right before I started. I'm like, is it worth like trying to pursue this?
So, that's an unanswerable question.
Yeah.
Which is awesome.
His thing is like, dude, things working. Obviously, I fucking love this life. I don't know. It's also kind of cringe because I was probably like 19 years old, like, which is old enough where you shouldn't be like.
I wrote the same stupid emails like that. The other piece of advice is do 100. I told him like record 100 episodes, publish them or don't. Just like talk into your phone microphone 100 times, and after you do it 100 times, you're gonna know exactly what you need to do for your voice, for your format. Did we? No, dude. But we're moving.
What do you mean? Did we?
Did we figure it out after 100?
No, dude. We're at 200 plus.
Fuck.
But you also shot like probably 200 vlogs, and like we're just dumb enough where we'd like, if we're not focused on improving it, it just doesn't improve. Like we'll do the same thing over and over, which it's fine, I guess, because we love the game. Oh, also, dude. Okay, here's a thread.
Yes,
we didn't talk about.
Got it out of him.
I'm gonna leave Wilkie for later because I'm gonna have Wilkie.
That's right.
Q&A today, so I'll just save it for like Monday or Tuesday. But we have this one important friend and client to Clipped, and he and I we talk a lot.
I know. I always like when a thread starts and I don't know where it's gonna go. It's ripe.
Well,
ripe.
Here's the thing, dude. So he's had some issue. He spends a lot of money with us. He's probably spends like $200,000 a year plus of his own cash now on our business. And so like we're very invested in him. He's invested in us. He's trying to like be viral with the stuff he makes. But he's like not intrinsically into the game, or at least I don't think he is. Versus you and I, like I don't really enjoy being on camera and like shooting shorts and stuff.
He's certainly more than most.
Enjoys it more than most.
Yeah, intrinsically.
Yeah,
he has kind of different long-term motivations for doing it, but
he's very long-term focused. But I think he's like gritting his teeth a little bit during the process. Like he'd be a lot happier if it were successful, and I think we're just like less so that. So we've had a lot of like back and forth. But why I bring him up is because we talk past each other a lot. But one of these conversations, he put out a tweet that was like, I don't know, something like, dude, life is like all hard work. So like, just be okay
hard
with
work
hard
is
work
underrated, I think.
Is that what it was? Hard work
is
underrated.
So.
Yeah, and I was basically like, dude, I've never done anything. But I don't want to say like anything, but like very little in my life has felt like hard work.
Right. And
maybe that means that you've had more of the burden of hard work, but like
no. Well, you work very hard, but it doesn't feel like hard work because you're obsessed with it.
Right. And so I don't know how, but we just kept talking past each other for a while of like, no, dude, you don't understand. Like, I have a company with my best friend and we just fucking tell goofy stories and like have people like jizzing on each other in animations and like everyone fucking gets riled over it. And it's like, that's our life. Like, how could you not have fun doing that? Obviously there are like ups and downs, but like even the downs are fun because then I just listen to a podcast where like, dude, we got to make 50 grand in 2 days. How do we do it? I don't know, but we do it every time. So it's like, is that working hard? I don't know. It just never feels like it versus it's kind of like a good relationship when you tell somebody it's like, hey, a good marriage is like this, but unless you're in it, you have no idea what it's like. I just feel like there's a good chance he's gone his whole life just having like partners that are like not ideal and just working on projects that he's not really like SaaS software. I'm like, I don't think I'd be intrinsically excited to do that versus like talking on podcasts and like shooting goofy shorts. Like that's a lot more fun. So I just feel like he hasn't played. And I think a lot of people that are like in it for the money and they have that like internal chip on their shoulder of like, I just want to make as much money as possible to like prove people wrong.
Well, that gets to, I saw this other tweet yesterday. It was something like, did you send it to me or did I send it to you? There's Pat Walls. What's he DMing me? It was something about like these startup founders that end up going monk mode after they make a bunch of money.
Oh, I might have sent that to you.
Because they're like trying to like catch up or find themselves or like without the pursuit of money, they like don't know what to do with themselves. Something like that.
It's like basically they make all this money to like be happy. And then when they make the money and they're not happy, I don't know if you have the tweet, but I can summarize it.
No, keep going. That was it.
So they make all the money. They're not happy. They're like, okay, that didn't make me happy. Let me go monk mode, like meditate and do these ice baths and like go in saunas and like eat only meat. So they do all this crazy stuff, take ayahuasca. And they're like, oh, that's going to make me happy. But that doesn't make them happy. It's like, okay, that doesn't make me happy. Maybe what will make me happy is just preaching about how that makes me happy. Right. And it's like this weird cycle.
Basically selling it to other people. Right.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, well, God, man, if work is just play, the Naval, if you're just like happy along the way, which I think we both really are, then like there is no, I'm like, it would be great to have 10 million bucks in the bank. I don't necessarily need that. But like when I do, I don't feel like my life is going to be any different. We're still going to be exploring these things that feel like play. I didn't find that in my DMs, dude, but I did find something that will bring this entire episode full circle. So nice, I think I would just like to pull that up really quick. There it is.
Oh, a screen share.
Yes. Reminder that if you leave your baby supine too often, their skull will flatten out. Tummy time is important, folks. And this person says, I want to send this to someone, but I don't want to be rude.
Yeah, dude. Hold on. I wish I had the picture. I tweeted it, the Mongoloid doing. But it's all good.
That's not nice. It's just not nice.
Well, I thought I was making fun of myself. I thought I was the butt of the joke because it wasn't supposed to be Mongoloid.
No, he doesn't have enough tummy time.
That's fine, dude.
What do you say we get out of here on a high, Pop?
All right, I'll save everything for later.
Go!
Oh, I had a more point. Hold on. No, I didn't stop the recording, dude.
These are supposed to be 20 minutes.
Sorry, dude. We can cut this after. I was listening to All In this morning, and I'm like, all our good shit comes from stories. Like a good pod has to have at least like one or two goofy stories. And I think when we do these, like, we just gotta be crazier and like go to these events and things, because just observing them.
Or get your power shut off, or shit your pants.
Yeah, I guess we don't have to be as extreme, but like, I like those stories.
Yeah. Well, the way to get stories. Actually, this is a good book by Donald Miller. Something about the hero's journey. There's a line from the story. Like he was like super depressed. And one of the lines that got him out of it is like, today, let me just put some plot on this story. Or, yeah, something like that. When he started like getting his life together, he's like, let me just put some plot on that. The point being like, these stories come from like being in motion and doing things and trying things and exploring things. So hey, dude, didn't mean to get all philosophical
We haven't been
here.
in motion. I want to be in motion at some point.
Yeah.
Again.
But I'm saying, like, even going out, just like we do a lot of shit.
Yeah.
So there's stories and everything. But
that's my point, dude. We can cut
we
it.
booted
We can
back
cut
up
it.
for that.
I'm sorry.
We're gonna end on a
I
low?
just want to do more shit.
We're
I want
gonna
to go to
end
the
on a low.
All-In Summit, dude. That's what I want to do. All right.
Jardon!